Hi there. Welcome back to Very Good Yoga with Billy. My name is Billy, and let's get started. Come into a Tadasana at the top of the mat. That's the only karate kick we're going to do today. I don't do karate, by the way. That was just for fun. Come into Tadasana at the top of the mat. And what I want you to do is just start to rock the weight front and back in your feet. So you're lifting your toes, you're lifting your heels, and you're just going back and forth. And something I want you to notice here is, what else moves in the body when we start to create this motion? How do your hips move? What are you doing with your arms? Where are you looking? And then now that we've taken that little bit of a dynamic inventory, find stillness and begin to come into a more conventional Tadasana, standing tall at the top of the mat. Your feet pressed down where your shoelaces would normally be. Reach the fingers to the floor. But then could you lift the tips of the ears up into the ceiling? So trying to go up as much as you're going down. Turn your palms forward. And on your next inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, reach the arms up and overhead. Keep this length, lift your belly as you swan dive forward into your fold. Keep your hands on the ground when you inhale to a flat back. And then keep that length as you step to come into plank pose. So find your Tadasana here with your heels reaching back, your thighs lifting up, and the heart and the chest look forward. Inhales, lengthen. And as you exhale, chaturanga to lower halfway. Inhale, come up into your back bend, upward facing dog. And as you exhale, downward facing dog. We'll take about 5 or so rounds of breath. And as always with this first downward facing dog, if you want to pedal out the feet, maybe begin to fidget and invite some smaller movements in here. I think generally speaking, fidget's pretty frowned upon in yoga. I think it's okay, but only if it's a mindful fidget. When you start to pedal out the feet and you invite those smaller movements, it's almost like you're pulling on a string on a sweater. You just keep pulling and pulling and pulling just to see where it goes. Except for it leads somewhere good instead of unraveling your clothing. Take a full breath in. And on empty, look forward, bend to the knees, hop, spring, step, or fly to a forward fold at the top of the mat. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come up to stand, Urdhva Hastasana. And then try to stay as tall as you are right now as you come into Tadasana with the arms by your sides. Turn your palms forward. Inhale the arms out and up. Lift your belly. Lean forward a lot. And eventually make your way down into your full Uttanasana. Inhale, flat back. Prepare for Chaturanga. Keep looking forward with your eyes and your chest as you lower Chaturanga. Either step, or land with bent elbows. Inhale, come up into your back bend. Thighs are lifting. Downward facing dog, the hips go up and back. Yeah, there's a dog barking outside, so my dog's going to start barking in a second. I apologize in advance. So can you imagine that someone has you by your hips? And that imaginary person is trying to pull you up and back to where the wall meets the ceiling behind you. Maybe even start to bend into your knees so the belly can touch the thighs. Full breath in. On empty, look forward, bend into the knees, hop, spring, or step to a forward fold at the top of your space. So right away, inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come all the way up to stand. Reach the arms up. Stay as tall as you are right now as you come into Tadasana, maybe even getting a little bit taller when you get there. Turn your palms forward. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Be slow in your descent. Hands stay on the ground. Inhale, flat back. Keep looking forward. Keep feeding the heart and chest forward. Lower halfway, chaturanga. Inhale to come up into your back bend, upward facing dog. And on the exhale, set it up and back to come into your downward facing dog. Bring your feet a little closer together and lift the right leg up into a three-legged dog, please. Flex through the foot, bend into the knee, and on an inhale, open up the hip. So the inner left thigh is rolling forward, and the outer left hip is hugging in. So you're trying to stay leveled not only across the upper back, but in your hips as well. Maybe you come back into that sensation that someone's pulling you up and back by your hips as you inhale. Right knee taps right shoulder, exhale. Step the right foot outside of the right hand and come into a lizard runner's lunge. So both hands are inside of the front right foot. And if you're anything like me and you have tighter hips and hamstrings, put blocks underneath your hands to bring the ground closer to you. One round of this. On your next inhale, dip your hips, lift your chest, look forwards. And as you exhale, press the right foot down to straighten out the front right leg. So we're in this long and wide variation of pyramid pose. And what I want you to do is keep the left heel lifted. So remember, this is a variation. Look forward with the eyes. Reach the ears forward, but draw the shoulder blades down the back. Inhales, lengthen. Stay for the out breath. Lizard runner's lunge, rebend into the front right knee. Lower the back left knee down, untuck your back toes, and walk your hands over to the left. So your torso is going to be at a slight angle to the top left corner of the room. Put the left hand underneath the left face and come into a wide, simple twist. So the right knee is going over the toe, so it's almost like you're in a half malasana. You still have that lizard leg. Inhale the top arm forwards. Exhale, come back to your lizard lunge, tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, and then step up into a malasana yogi squat. Left foot outside of the left hand. Keep your heels down on the floor. So I don't care how wide you go in your squat. Like you might be inside your shoulders, you might be outside your shoulders, but do keep your heels down. And if you're having a hard time keeping your heels down, it probably means you can go out a little bit wider with the stance. Inhale, sit up a little bit taller. As you exhale, hands on the floor, straighten out your legs, forward fold. Heel to your feet a little closer together. Listen carefully. Inhale, flat back, look forwards. Keep looking forward. Exhale, chaturanga, but pause in the bottom of the push-up. Hold in the bottom of the push-up. Hover your right foot an inch or two off the floor. Three-legged plank pose. Three-legged chaturanga, press up to three-legged plank. That's my bad, you guys. Step your right foot forward. Ground the back left heel down. Virabhadrasana A, warrior one, come up to stand. Hopefully that wasn't too bad. Keep the weight in the right heel when you bend into the front right knee. Lift up and off the belly. Maybe find a little bit of back bend between the shoulders. If it's appropriate, could you look up and see your palms touch? Inhale. Chaturanga is the exhale, lower. Inhale, find your back bend, upward facing dog. And on your exhale, downward facing dog. Please step your left foot forward and come up into a warrior one. Inhale, rise. Exhale, chaturanga to lower. Inhale, your back bend, upward face. And as you exhale, take it to your downward facing dog. I definitely should have mentioned this a little bit earlier. You might see me do some of these vinyasas a little bit differently. I'm dealing with like a toe injury that if you've been taking class with me for a little bit now, doesn't seem to want to go away, but that's okay. We work around it. Lift the left leg up, three-legged dog. Flex the foot, turn out the toes, bend the knee, and open up the hip. So I think there is a perception of open hip three-legged dog. You're just trying to reach the left leg out as much as you can. And on the one sense, yeah, you are reaching the left foot to the right, but as you do that, hug the right hip in towards center. So there's a part of you going to the left and the right. Meanwhile, your hips lift up and back and your palms press down and forwards. Inhale. Left knee taps left shoulder. Exhale. Step the left foot outside of the left pinky and come into this lizard runner's lunge. So if you've used blocks before, like you're probably going to use them again here. Inhale, dip your hips, lift your chest, and look forwards. Press the left foot down to straighten out the front left leg. You wrap the outer left hip back, the outer right hip forward in an effort to keep your hips squared with the front of your room. And then feel for the back bend in your forward bend. Look forward. Draw the shoulders away from the ears. Inhales, lengthen. Stay through the exhale. Lizard runner's lunge. Re-bend into the front left knee. Lower the back right knee down and untuck the toes on the out breath. Walk your hands over to the right. So now your torso and arms are at a diagonal. Right hand underneath the face. Simple twist. Wide simple twist. Reach the left arm out and up. So there's roughly a 90-degree angle at your left knee, your right armpit, your left armpit. Maybe the right eyeball finds the ceiling to look up. Inhale the top arm forwards. Exhale. Lizard runner's lunge. Both hands inside of the front left foot. Tuck the back toes. Lift the back right knee. And step up into your malasana. Yogi squat. Right foot is outside of the right hand. Press your palms together. In fact, press the elbows into the inner thighs. Stay low, but press your feet down so you get into a little bit more of an engaged position. Inhale, lift the chest. And as you exhale, forward fold. Straighten out your legs and fix your feet and bring them a little closer together. Hands stay on the ground. Inhale, flat back. Keep looking forward. Chaturanga's the out breath, lower halfway, and hold. Hover your left foot an inch or two off the floor. Three-legged chaturanga presses up to three-legged plank. Step your left foot forward to your left thumb. Ground the back right heel down. Virabhadrasana A, warrior one. Inhale, come all the way up to stand. So go down with your legs. Go down with your hips. But go up through your belly, your ribs, your shoulders, your arms, your neck, your ears, and your fingers. Maybe see your palms come together. Inhale finds the back bend. Chaturanga is the out breath, lower halfway. Inhale, come up into your back bend, upward facing dog. And as you exhale, downward facing dog. Please step your right foot forward. Warrior one. Inhale, come up. Exhale, chaturanga to get down. Inhales your back bend, upward facing dog. And as you exhale, downward facing dog. Breathe here for 5, 4, for 3, 2, full breath in. Imagine someone's pulling you up and back by the hips as you look forward. Bend into the knees, hop, spring, or step to a forward fold at the top of the space. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, chair pose. Bend into the knees. Lift the heart and the chest up. Look forwards. Bring your hands to prayer at the heart. Come up to stand. And meet me in a Tadasana with the arms by the sides. So we'll do one round of a Surya B. One breath, one movement. On your next inhale, please come into chair pose. Belly to thighs, hands to floor. Forward fold is your out breath. Inhale, flat back. Prepare for Chaturanga. And as you exhale, Chaturanga, lower. Inhales your back bend. Thighs are lifting, gazes forward. Downward facing dog. Hips go up and back. Lift the right leg up into a three-legged dog and take a full breath in. Exhale, knee in between the elbows. Step your right foot forward to your right thumb, warrior one. Inhale, rise. Exhale, Chaturanga is lower. Inhale to a back bend, upward facing dog. Biceps are forward, triceps are back. Downward facing dog, send the hips up high. Last one, left leg lifts, three-legged dog. Inhale. Exhale, knee between the elbows. Back right heel grounds down, warrior one. Inhale, stand. Exhale, Chaturanga to lower. So when you cannot exhale any amount more, inhale, come up into your back bend, upward facing dog. And as you exhale, downward facing dog. 5 more breaths. Okay. Step your right foot forward and come into a runner's lunge. Grab a block and place it to the inside of the right foot. You might not need a block, but I feel like most people do. I know I do, so I'm going to cue it that way. Flip your wrists. So the fingers point back and the heel of the hand lines up with the heel of the foot. Place your left hand on your sacrum. Begin to look forward with your eyes. And then walk your drishti up the front wall until eventually the right eyeball is directly above you towards the ceiling. So you're in this twist. Keep the runner's lunge in your legs. So the left butt goes to the left and the right butt goes to the right. The left heel goes back, the crown of the head goes forward, and if it's appropriate, maybe the left arm goes skywards. So you are continuing to create this sideways sensation across your chest. Inhale the top arm forwards. Exhale, left hand down, left knee down. So we're coming back into this variation of lizard runner's lunge that we did earlier. Untuck the back toes and walk your hands over to the left. We're going to come back into that wide twist. Reach the right arm out and up. And maybe this is where you stay. But if you want a little bit more, bend into the back left knee and see if you can catch the foot with the right hand. Keep your chest open for this quad stretch. In fact, kick the left heel back more than you're pulling the left heel in. Press the right foot down, reach out with the front right knee. And then without slingshotting the foot, let it go. And bring both hands to the inside of the front right foot. Lizard runner's lunge, tuck the back toes, lift the back left knee. Malasana, yogi squat. Step the left foot up and outside of the front left hand. And on your next inhale, come all the way up to stand. Reach the arms up high. See your palms touch, and on the out breath, squat right back down. Hold here. Inhale, sit up tall. Exhale, forward fold. Straighten out the legs, and then bring your feet a little closer together. Inhale, flat back. And as you exhale, step the right foot back, runner's lunge. Into a downward facing dog. Step your left foot next to your right foot. On your next inhale, come up into a plank or a tuck-toed upward facing dog. And as you exhale, send it up and back into your downward facing dog. If you ever want to add on a push-up for those chaturanga-less sort of vinyasa movements, you're always more than welcome to do that. I figured we'd just get all the vinyasas out of the way at the beginning of class today. So if you want to do a chaturanga-free practice the rest of the day, you do that. Step your left foot forward and come to a runner's lunge. Grab a block, put it to the inside of the front left foot, and then flip the palms so the fingertips point back and the heel of the hand lines up with the heel of the foot. Your right hand finds your sacrum and your eyes look out in front of you. And then use your drishti to come into the twist. Walk your gaze up the front wall. Maybe the left eyeball goes directly up to the ceiling above you. And use this right hand to see what your hips are doing. You're trying to keep that evenness of runner's lunge. Left butt to the left, right butt to the right. The head and the left knee goes forward, but the right heel is going back. And if you would like to add on, the right arm goes skywards. Inhale the top arm forward. Exhale, right hand down, right knee is down. Untuck the back toe so you're in a lizard lunge. And then walk your hands over to the right. Keep the right hand underneath the right face. Come into this wide 90-degree angle, simple twist. And if it's appropriate, if it spoke to you on the first side, bend into the back right knee and see if you can catch the outer edge of the foot with the left hand. We've been doing a lot of work with the neck today, and I want to keep going with that. So if you would like to look up and to the left. So it's like you're looking over your left shoulder. Kick the right foot back more than you're pulling in with the left hand. You keep going forwards with the tip of the ears. So there's a little part of you going every which way from center. Full breath in. And without slingshotting the foot, let it go. Lizard runner's lunge. Put both hands inside of the front left foot. Tuck the back toes, lift the back knee. And step up into a malasana, yogi squat. So the right foot is outside of the right hand. Your heels are down. Your chest is up. Inhale, come up to stand. Reach the arms up high. See your palms touch. And on an exhale, squat right back down. Hold here. Inhale, sit up. And as you exhale, forward fold. Straighten out your legs and then fix your feet. Bring them a little closer together. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step the left foot back, runner's lunge. Into a downward facing dog, step the right foot next to the left foot. Inhale, look forward, plank or a tuck-toed upward facing dog. Legs are engaged the whole time. And then use your belly and send it up and back to your downward facing dog. So keep the gaze right between the feet. Reach the crown of the head to the floor. But find a subtle lift of the chin away from the collarbone. Yeah. So it's almost like you're doing a flat back and you're down dog. Full breath in. On empty, look forward. Imagine someone's pulling you by the hips up and back as you bend into the knees, hop, step, heel toe or flat to a forward fold at the top of the mat. Inhale, flat back. Hands on your hips, squeeze the elbows together and come all the way up to stand. Okay, let's take a break. Step the right foot to the back of the mat. Parallel your feet with the short edges of the mat. So it's as if you're about to set up for a straddle pose. Measure out your stance. Make sure that the hands and wrists are over the feet and the ankles. And then open to warrior two at the back of the room. So the right knee will bend. And if you can keep the chest facing the left side of the room, maybe the left eyeball finds the right index finger. So very similar to your malasana. The back left toes turn slightly in and up the mat. And it's the internal rotation of the front left leg that assists with the external rotation that happens in the front right leg. Inhale, reverse, tip back, stay light in your left hand, and come into an extended side angle. So the right hand will go inside of the front right foot, and the top left arm will reach forwards. If you need a block, grab a block for sure. I definitely need a block. Maybe the right eyeball goes underneath the left armpit. Carve the outer right hip underneath you. And turn your heart center up towards the ceiling. Keep in mind, folks, this is a twist. Full breath in. And as you exhale, come up to stand, straighten out the front right leg. And then second side, come into warrior two at the front of the space now. So your left toes turn forward, your back right toes turn in, Virabhadrasana B. Ooh, gotta fix my glasses. And if you can keep your chest, if you can keep your ribs facing towards the long edge of your mat, maybe bring the right eyeball forwards to the left finger. Inner right thigh rolls back, inner left thigh rolls up. Inhale, reverse. Continue to stay light through the back right hand. Left hand inside of the left foot. Extended side angle. Reach the top right arm as far away from the back right foot as you can. I didn't cue this in the last side, but I always think it's helpful to press the left tricep into the inner left thigh. And maybe you do that and you can see just how much more you can get the heart center to turn up into the ceiling. Inhale. Exhale, come up to stand. And place your hands on your hips. Let's do this. Turn to face the back of the room and come into a pyramid stance with your legs. So with that transition, you're going to have to go a little shorter and a little bit wider. Reach your arms out left and right. Extend through the wrists. Press out through your palms. And eventually go for a reverse namaste right behind the heart. So your palms will come together to touch. And if you need a modification, like if your palms come apart even a little bit, give yourself a fist bump instead. Slowly begin to hinge at your hips. And begin to fold over the front right thigh. And if it's okay on your neck, reach your chin towards your big toe. And continue to work the back bend here. So the elbows and the triceps lift up into the ceiling. But meanwhile, your biceps are wrapping down to the floor. 2 or 3 more breaths. Inhale, flat back. Left hand on the floor or a block. Revolve your triangle pose. So the right arm goes skywards. The left hand presses down almost like it would do in a side plank. So just like we did in the extended side angle, and just like we do in so many different twists, you're trying to get your shoulders stacked here. And if it doesn't bother the neck, maybe the left eyeball looks up and finds the right thumb. Listen carefully. Hold the pose, but reach the right arm back. Hold the pose, stay in the twist, reach your right arm down. Start to turn your chest to the floor, reach both arms out in front of you, and make your way into a flying warrior. So straighten out both of the legs, parallel your feet once more, arms are sky high. Hands on your hips, set up for a pyramid stance facing the front of the space. So remember, it's a little shorter and a little bit wider. Reach your arms out left and right to a T, and once more extend out through the palms. Can you keep this length that you created across your chest and collarbone, and reverse your namaste, bringing your palms together right behind the heart. So we're not going slow and dramatically for the sake of going slow and dramatically. We hinge at our hips, we fold into this shape slow and dramatically, so we can take inventory, so we can see what the body is doing. If this didn't bother you before, reach your chin towards your left big toe. Maybe look slightly forward with your eyes. And then notice if you've lost the back bend and the upper body. And to get it back, lift the elbows and triceps up and roll the biceps to the floor. And for the record, like at some point, you're going around in your spine when you fold. But your mission here is to try to keep that length here as you're folding. Inhale, flat back. Right hand to floor or a block. Revolve your triangle pose. Turn your chest to the left side of the room, and if it's appropriate, reach the left arm skyward. So if the left arm going up is just too much too soon, keep your hand on your sacrum. Could you bring the right eyeball up to your left thumb? Keep pressing the right hand down as if it was in a side plank. And don't forget about your feet on the floor, trying to tear the yoga mat in half. Reach your left arm back. Down. Both arms forward. Fly your warrior. Come up to stand. Straighten out both of the legs. Parallel the feet. Hands on your hips. And then just step up into a Tadasana at the top of the mat. And we'll bring the arms down by the sides. Inhale the arms out and up. Hinge at your hips. Exhale is fold. Inhale, flat back. As you exhale, Chaturanga, Vinyasa. Please make your way back into your downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward and ground the back left heel down, please. So I would say it's very similar to a warrior one stance, what you're doing with your legs and your feet. But we're going to add on the twist here. Grab a block if you used it before and put it inside of your right foot. Flip the palm so the heel of the hand lines up with the heel of the foot. Your right fingers point back, and then your left hand finds your sacrum. And maybe right away you can find that inventory, right? Left butt to the left, right butt to the right. It's trying to stay squared and even through your hips. Look forward with your eyes. Start to walk your gaze up the front wall. Eventually the right eyeball goes directly above you to your ceiling. And if this was good for you before, reach the left arm up into the ceiling. So this is where this is going to be a little different than what we did before. If you want to explore a bind here, internally rotate the left shoulder. So the left hand is facing the wall behind you. And almost like you're trying to move something, press the left hand back. Open up through the front of the left shoulder. And eventually go for your half, or maybe it's a full bind with the right arm underneath the front right thigh. So I feel like with this variation of a bind, it's extra hard to keep the chest open because your left hip's trying to take you down. Stay squared through your hips, but try to pull your hands apart to turn your heart center up and into the ceiling. Press evenly through both of your feet for the next 5, 4, 3, For 2, runner's lunge right away, lower the back left knee down. Half split, straighten out the front right leg. I'm sure we could all use it, right? And maybe this is where you step. But if you're interested in taking a full Hanuman, grab your block so you can keep your chest upright, and then begin to slide the right leg out in front of you. If you have a third block, you could place it underneath your right hamstring, the highest height for support. But find a place where you can settle. Maybe you close your eyes and you just begin to imagine your thigh bones plugging into the sockets. So the right thigh draws back and the left thigh draws forward. Full breath in. Half split, walk your right leg back into center. Ditch the blocks if you have them, and make your way back to downward facing dog. Plant your palms, tuck your toes, and lift your hips up and back. Okay. Last side, step your left foot forward and ground the back right heel down. Grab a block if you've been using it and put it inside of your left foot. Last time we'll do this. Left hand to the block, flip the palms so the fingertips point back. Right hand to your sacrum. Feel that your hips are square. Left butt to the left, right butt to the right. And then look forward with your eyes. Imagine you're tracing a line up the front wall. Imagine that line goes all the way up into the ceiling so the left eyeball is above you. Right arm goes up to complete the twist. Or the hand stays in the sacrum if you're modifying. If you did the bind, internally rotate the right shoulder, turn the palm to face the wall behind you, and then press the hand back, press the hand back, press the hand back. Open up through the front of the right shoulder. And maybe you can weave the left arm underneath the front left thigh. Left butt to the left, right butt to the right. I know here, this is where I always need a reminder. I could probably do it even more right now. I can't really see myself. Try to pull your hands apart. Try to get that sidewaysness with your chest as you turn your heart center up into the ceiling. Yeah, a lot of things happening here. Last 5, 4, 3, for 2. Runner's lunge, lower the back right knee down on 1. Straighten out the front left leg and just start with a half Hanuman, even if you anticipate going a little bit further. If you're taking the next step, grab your block so you can keep this uprightness in your chest and torso. Eventually slide the left leg out in front of you for the full expression. So I mentioned this a little bit on the last side. On the one hand, your left foot goes forwards. But as that left foot goes forward, simultaneously draw the left thigh bone back. So it's almost like your legs are going in 2 separate directions. But you're still trying to find that sensation of the thighs drawing towards your center. Last 2 breaths. Full breath in. And as you exhale, half split, back up your hips. And eventually make your way back to downward facing dog. Plant your palms, tuck your toes, and lift the hips up and back. This time on your next inhale, look forward and shift into a plank pose. Exhale, lower all the way to the belly. So coming into a Shalabhasana. Untuck your toes and reach the arms back. Lift your knees, lift your shoulders, lift your feet, lift your hands, and find your belly back bend. So the inner thighs are lifting up into the ceiling. The gaze is down over the tip of the nose, and you're relaxed through the neck. If you'd like to explore a bow pose, use your hamstrings to bend into your knees, but press your butt down into the floor. If it's available to you, grab the outsides of your shins and begin to kick your feet up into the air. Begin to lift your thighs up and off the floor. Shalavasana, take a full breath in. And as you exhale, lower your feet down, keep your shoulders lifted, and bring your hands by your ribs. Inhale, come up into your back bend, either cobra or up dog. And as you exhale, take it to a downward facing dog, lifting your hips as high as possible. Inhale, look forward, shift forward into your plank. And as you exhale, lower back to the belly. Last time we'll do this, setting up for Shalabhasana. Reach the arms back. Lift your knees, lift your shoulders, lift your feet, lift your hands, Shalabhasana, belly back bend, round 2. And then if you're going for the bow pose, bend into the knees, press your butt into the floor, and see if you can grab your shins. If bow is a place that you're fairly comfortable with, maybe try walking your hands down your shins and ankles a little bit closer to the knees. So regardless of back bend, lift up through the inner thighs and kick your feet back as much as possible. Shalabhasana is an inhale. Keep your shoulders lifted, but lower your feet to the floor and bring your hands by your ribs. Inhale to a back bend, upward facing dog. And as you exhale, take it up and back into your downward facing dog. Lower your knees. And let's make our way onto our backs. So I want to do, check the time over here real quick. Oh, amazing. I want to do one more back bend with you folks here today. So setting up for a bridge pose, step your feet onto the floor. Reach the fingertips towards the front of the space. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Inhale. Press your feet down and lift your hips up on the exhale. And maybe this is where you stay. You could even opt out and take a supported back bend. But if you're interested in taking a wheel pose, reach the arms up and overhead. And take your hands wide to frame your face. Come up onto the crown of the head. Inhale. Straighten out the arms as you exhale. So a full wheel pose. So kind of similar to what we did in our bow. Roll the inner thighs down to the floor. And then whether you took bridge, whether you took wheel, if you want a little bit more, lift the heels up and off the ground. So it's like you're wearing high heels. Lift the butt a little bit higher. And without it affecting or changing the position of your hips, lower your heels back to the floor. And then after about 8 rounds of breath, we'll make our way all the way back onto our backs and find constructive rest in the legs. So the feet step out wide and the knees knock together to touch. Close your eyes and soften and control your breathing. For me, I like to bring my arms overhead just because I think it helps making it easier to breathe in the side ribs, between the shoulders and the hips. And then hug your knees into the belly and into the chest. Take a few rocks up and down the length of the spine. And let's come into a pigeon pose with the right leg forwards. So the right knee is outside of the right wrist, and the right foot is right underneath the left hip bone. Draw your right hip back, your left hip forward, and eventually begin to fold. So walk your hands forward towards the front of your room. Downward facing pigeon. We'll hold for about 10 rounds of breath. Again, notice if you're clenching in the face. Notice if you're clenching in the jaw. Notice if you're doing anything funny with the shoulders. So we continue to take this inventory in yoga practice. Because even though, I'm sure there's a good chance we've done these shapes before, it's always different. The pigeon that we're doing right now is different from the last pigeon that you did, or the next one, or the one that you're going to do tomorrow. And just notice what's happening. Notice what's different. Full breath in. And as you exhale, come up onto your hands. And let's actually send this into a 3-legged dog. Lift the right leg up and back. Maybe flex the foot, bend the knee, open up the hip. If you would like to take a flip dog, step the right foot behind you onto the floor. But keep the left shoulder over the left wrist if you're doing that. Second side. Left leg comes forward. Please come into your pigeon pose. So the left knee is outside of the left wrist, and the left foot is underneath the right hip. Left hip back, right hip forward. Eventually we'll fold and come into our downward facing pigeon. So there should be like a pretty generous rounding in your spine. For the time being, we have lost that length that we worked so much of class to maintain. Once you've done the things that you're supposed to do, just settle and be with your breath. And I know for me, this is always the part of class where the thoughts begin to trickle back in, the distractions, that endless to-do list that we all have. But be here, stay with it. I think it could be kind of a nice gentle reminder sometimes that, we made a commitment to ourselves to set aside this time, put that to-do list off to this side, and just practice yoga for about an hour. Just be with our body, our breath, our mind, and our heart. Most things will be there later, but just stay with this thing. Stay with this yoga stuff. Full breath in. Exhale, come up onto your hands. And send the left leg up and back into a 3-legged dog. Maybe bend the knee, maybe open up the hip. If you flipped before, maybe find the flip again here. And then eventually make your way into a comfortable seat, facing the front of the space. So I want to do one more seated forward fold, and I'm going to give you 3 options there at home. Option number 1, you could take a seated forward fold with your legs together. Option number 2, you could take the Baddha Konasana variation with feet together, knees out wide. Option number 3, you could set up for a straddle with the legs out wide like this. But for me, I'm actually going to take the legs together variation. And if you have paralysis by analysis, like if 3 options is too many options, just fold. I don't know. I came to yoga for you to tell me what to do. Come into a fold. I too have that thought sometimes in yoga class. But I also think that's one of the nice things about these home practices. You know, no one can see you, and if you need to modify something, if you want to do something a little bit differently, you have that freedom. As always, make these sequences, make these poses your own. You know, at the end of the day, what I'm teaching, the poses, the sequence, it doesn't really matter that much. What matters is you and the connection that you create through your practice. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, come up into your seat. Extend the arms out in front of you. And then make your way all the way down onto the floor. Hug your knees into your belly and into your chest. Scoot your hips an inch or 2 over to the left. And find just a really simple twist over to the right. So your hips go left, your knees go right, and the right hand is resting on top of your left leg. Again, if you want a little bit more, maybe the left arm goes up and overhead. So once again, you can create that space between your left shoulder and your left hip, clearing up room to breathe. Eventually come back through center. Second side, scoot your hips over to the right. And drop your knees to the left for a simple twist. Maybe the gaze goes over the right hand. Maybe the right arm is up and overhead. So I just want to say that if you are doing the thing with the arm lifted, like the hand, the forearm, the elbow, everything's on the floor. It's a pretty passive posture, a pretty passive shape. Whenever you're ready, start to make your way back through center. And I want to finish with a plow pose. Lift your feet, lift your legs, lift your lower back, and start to reach your feet towards the hardwood floor or maybe the carpet at the back of the mat. If you want a modification, like if this doesn't agree with your practice, you can always take legs up the air with a block or even a bolster underneath your sacrum. If you need a little bit of support, put your hands on your lower back. And then for me, I like to get playful with my plow pose. So maybe find a little bit of movement walking your legs left and right on the floor behind you. Maybe you shift your hips to the right, put the weight in the right hand, and then maybe you go back and forth, putting your left hip in your left hand, putting the weight into your left side. And if that doesn't work, if that doesn't make sense, maybe you stay with plow or keep your legs lifted up in the air. We'll meet in Shavasana. And I'll give you folks about 3 minutes of rest here today. But if you need more, feel free to turn the video off. If you need less, if you got to go about your day, like, I respect that. Thanks for coming. But if you're staying with me, close your eyes and start to settle down into your stillness. Keeping the eyes closed, take one more big belly breath, fill up. And then on the exhale, open up the mouth and let it go. No more work. No more effort. Shavasana. Start to prepare to leave Shavasana. Start to invite some smaller movements back into the body. Wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes, the hands, and eventually the feet. And slowly begin to bend into your knees and step your feet onto the floor. Hug the knees into the belly and into the chest. keeping your eyes closed and using as little effort as possible. Please make your way up into a comfortable seat, facing your monitors, facing the front. To seal in your practice, please bring your hands to a prayer position at your heart. Guiding the thumb knuckles up and into your sternum. Please invite a full breath in. Open up the mouth, exhale, clear it away. Thumb knuckles to your forehead, your third eye center. Thank you for sharing your practices with me today. Go in peace. Namaste. Thank you, yogis. That is it for me for today. But if you guys have any questions, if you have comments, if you have feedback, let me know in the comment section below. And don't forget to hit subscribe. That's it for me. I hope to see you soon. And thank you so much. Bye.